Hi, I'm Nick Shell, the internet receding hairline guy. I think I should just real quick do what I'm gonna call my hair loss story. Just to fill in any of the gaps. You've heard this story in bits and pieces throughout my hundreds of videos, but here's my hair loss story. So imagine, just like any boy, I had a hairline that was like this. It was exactly like the same thickness all over. And I back like even when I was 16, 17, I had a hairline that was straight across. It was down here. And then I graduated high school, and I can see the picture. It pretty much was exactly straight across. But the next year, at age 19, that's when I noticed the corners were starting to go up. At age 19, I first noticed that. My hair was thick all the way over, even into me being 20 and 21. It was a little bit higher up in the corners at that point, but it was still thick all over. I specifically can remember from the year 2000, yes, it would have been 2000, 2001, that school year. I worked at an after-school program, and I was the manager there. And this girl that was just a couple years younger than me, which her dad would have been in his late 40s at that time, she commented and said, "Nick, your hair is really thick." Of course, she probably was comparing my hair to her dad's hair. She also said I look like Ross from Friends at the time too. I've heard that. Of course, now he still has the juvenile hairline, even in his 50s. But anyway, David Schwimmer. All right, so that was my early 20s. I started noticing it going up, but still thick hair. Now, sometime between age 21 and 30, my hairlines continued to go up, and apparently it was thinning, though not obviously. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because I keep hearing, and I did a video on it recently, that apparently the moment you start realizing that your hair is thinning, you've already lost at least 50% of it for you to even notice that. So in theory, there was like a 9-year period, from age 19 until 30. That's about more of like an 11-year period in which I wasn't noticing my hair thinning, but apparently it was, because it's not like I literally just woke up one day and suddenly it's thinner right here. Yes, one day I noticed it on my 30th birthday, I noticed it. But around that same time, I also remember my wife saying something to the effect of, she walked behind me and at age 30, and I remember her saying, "You know, Nick, as thick as your hair is on top, and however long you have it or how dark your hair is, still, it's always going to be thin in the back there, isn't it?" So for her to have said that at age 30, and she and I had already been married for 3 or 4 years at that point, that implies that she was already recognizing that my hair was thinner back there. If it was thinner back here, it was likely already starting to thin up here in the front. I just wasn't aware of it. So, in between age 19 and age 30, my hair was thinning, and it was getting to that 50% hair loss level. So that means the first many years, my early 20s, my mid-20s, I hadn't yet lost 50%. I had maybe only lost 10, 20%. And it's gradually thinning out as the years went on. Now, as the years went on too, since age 30, now something else too, I've been looking back on pictures from when I was 30, 31, 32. My hairline's really not much different then than it was now. And even looking back to when I got married, I mean, my hairline wasn't much worse than it is now. I feel that looking back on pictures, thinking back on my own life and stories and all that stuff that I've experienced, it just seems that my hairline has very consistently not only gone up, but also that it's consistently thinned, and it started at age 19. That's what, in my experience, that's what I have seen. I have seen consistency, but a very slow consistency. So whether we call that balding, thinning, receding, whatever we call it, I just think I'm completely the average American white guy as far as hair loss goes. I think half people have more hair than me, half people have less than hair than me, and I'm just completely average. Now, I am no expert at all. I'm just a guy who talks on his phone during his breaks. I don't know anything. I'm leaving it to people out there in the free world to determine what they think about my hair loss story. Let me try to get an angle of the back. The back, it's not horrible. I mean, it's not any worse than this. It's just normal. And remember, if you knew me in real life, A, I wouldn't be talking about my hair loss because I don't do that in the real world. And then B, the other thing to know is, this is how most people see me. So they're not looking at someone who just has, they're not seeing this all day long. They're seeing this. So the average person, I'm not a guy who's, quote, losing his hair. That's not something they think about. So tell me your thoughts on my hair loss story. Tell me, do you think I'm balding? Am I receding? Am I maturing in my hairline? Which, help me with the timeline to understand how all this works. Because I only see a consistent story. I don't see any starting and stopping. I see constant micro receding and micro thinning since I was 19, and now I'm age 35 and a half. So I'm led to believe this will continue, and you know, we'll be able to track the process 5 years from now. It'll be slightly worse than this. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. I'm not the expert, you are. I'm Nick Shell, the Internet Receding Hairline Guy.